Let's have a look at half butterfly pose. We're also going to have a closer look at the side variation that you could also do in half butterfly as well. And so with butterfly, it's basically, if you can imagine, butterfly would be with the feet together, and then half butterfly is with one leg extended out, same thing. So you're still going forward out in front of you and dropping your head down. If you want, you can have a bolster or bolsters out in front of you, and again, look for that spinal flexion a little bit more. So allowing yourself to come forward and just drop the head down like so. In this position, you're going to get a little bit of sensation coming into that outer left hip. So that's going to be your gallbladder pathway up through there. And then you're going to get a little bit of sensation through your semimembranosus, semitendinosus. And so that's going to be your kidney pathway. There's compression points here. You might get a little bit of compression point in the front of the hip. And that's again just going to be your acetabulum and your greater trochanter. And that's probably going to be more at the side and a little bit underneath your bum. That's going to be a tricky one to really fix. You might want to try and maybe bring the foot further out to the side. Maybe you want to bring it further out in front of you so you're not in as much of an exact alignment, the foot right up on that inner thigh. It might be a little bit further out in there, and that's okay. That can work if that avoids a compression point for you. Now, if students have had to place something underneath their bum to come a little bit higher, to be able to actually come forward, then you might get a compression point at the front of the knee. So what we're going to notice is the tibia, shin bone, and the femur bone, they press into each other eventually. So it compresses at the front, and then it's going to just pinch that meniscus a little bit. So you'd like to place something underneath the knee, and then make your way forward into this pose with the spine flexed to make sure you find a mobile spine and not a flat back. Now another variation here is to come into a half butterfly to the side. So with half butterfly to the side, you're going to have the bolster out along that thigh. And a few things that you could have here for comfort, maybe a block underneath the bum. And that might help a few students to actually be able to make their way over laterally to the side. Don't have to do that. And again, if you are going to do that, I would suggest just supporting that knee as well. So your choice, if you want, you can have it like so, or if you're comfortable to have it sort of out along that leg, feel free to do that as well. Now, I personally, instead of bringing this arm up and over and relaxing it up in there, which gets into latissimus, I personally like to take a different variation and bring the hand around the back. You'll have the palm facing back, and then you just tuck it into the back of the pants, just like so, into the back of the pants. And that enables you to really get into that left trapezius as well. So when we're leaning over to that right-hand side, we can allow the right ear to drop to the right shoulder. And then the target area in this becomes that internal external obliques. That's your gallbladder. And then into your quadratus lumborum at the back, left-hand side, if your right leg's out. And that's going to be your gallbladder as well. And then we're starting to get up into the trapezius, up into here, the trap. And that's going to be your gallbladder, and then also your triple energizer as well. Realistically, the only compression point that you might see is maybe something here. So that's going to be your frontal hip point, the ASIS, pressing into the femur bone. So if you get down to a certain point, you can't get too much further and you've got pressure there, then that's exactly what it's going to be. It's a bit of a tricky one to really avoid that. Maybe try and turn your hips different directions as you come forward. So instead of maybe being completely facing forward, maybe try and open up a little bit more and go sideways, or vice versa. Maybe even turn around just a little bit. It's going to change the pose just a little bit, but the reality is if there's compression point there, that's bone pressing into bone, that's your skeleton. You can't actually change that. Make sure the foot is relaxed in the final pose, and that's again allowing the muscles to come into, and the connective tissue to take the tension instead of flexing it, engaging the muscles, and the muscles taking the tension. So we want to relax the muscles so the connective tissue can take the tension as the bones separate. Instead of when the muscles come closer to engage, it brings the bones closer together. And that's going to be your half butterfly pose to the side.